Composting on the Acreage with Sarah Browning, University of Nebraska-Lincoln Extension. In a forest, leaves fall from the trees, creating a natural mulch that protects the soil. Nature then recycles these leaves along with other dead plants and animals, decomposing them into nutrients that feed forest plants. We can harness this natural process on the acreage to make use of landscape materials. Composting allows gardeners to recycle home and garden waste. Instead of sending excess materials to a landfill, once composted, they can be utilized on your property to improve soil structure, improve water retention of sandy soils, and improve drainage and aeration of heavier clay soils. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, yard waste accounts for 20% of all household wastes that is sent to landfills nationwide. In Nebraska, state law prohibits grass clippings and leaves from inclusion in household waste pickups from April 1st to November 30th. Once a compost pile is created, microorganisms such as fungi and bacteria, which are naturally present in soil or finished compost, begin the decomposition process. As the materials begin to break down, physical decomposers such as earthworms, millipedes, and sow bugs continue the process. It's important for the home composter to realize they are managing a living system. To keep the decomposing organisms active, maintaining pile size, aeration, moisture, and a balance of materials is critical. The goal is to initiate aerobic decomposition, which is accomplished by microorganisms and requires a minimum of 5% oxygen within the compost pile. Aerobic decomposition does not generate any odors and is 90% faster than anaerobic decomposition, which occurs in wetland areas in nature where oxygen levels are below 5%. Methane gas is a byproduct of anaerobic decomposition, resulting in a rotten egg smell, which is not desirable in a home or acreage landscape. Maintaining a good carbon to nitrogen ratio in your compost pile, ideally 30 parts carbon to 1 part nitrogen, can be achieved by using both green or high nitrogen materials and brown or high carbon materials. Kitchen vegetable scraps and grass clippings are considered green materials, while brown materials include shredded newspaper, straw, or brown tree leaves. As microorganisms become active in your compost pile, they will generate heat that can be measured using a composting thermometer. Ideally, your compost pile should reach 140 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit in the center. Locate your compost pile close to a hose or water source and in full sun if possible. Many types of composting structures can be used, both purchased kits or homemade versions. Having multiple sections to a composting unit is helpful, making turning easier by moving materials from one side to another. Tumbling composting units also make turning easier. A minimum size of 3 feet cubed is necessary to generate heat for faster decomposition. 5 feet cubed is the maximum desirable size. Anything larger may reduce oxygen penetration to the center of the pile and result in anaerobic decomposition. Begin building the pile in layers, starting with 4 to 6 inches of coarse, brown, or high carbon materials, followed with 3 to 4 inches of green, high nitrogen materials, then 1 inch of soil. Mix all 3 layers together and add water, so that a handful of material squeezed will result in a few drops of water. Repeat the layers until the pile reaches the appropriate size. Monitor the pile's heat. Once it reaches 140 to 150 degrees and begins to cool down, it's time to turn. Repeat the turning process each time the pile cools off. With frequent turning, you should have finished compost in approximately 3 to 6 months. Too much high nitrogen material in the pile is a common problem. This will cause the pile to heat up quickly, then cool down and stop composting. Add more high carbon materials, re-wet, and turn the pile. Another common problem is too much high carbon material. This pile will never heat up, but just sit there. Add more green materials, re-wet the pile, and turn it again to restart the composting process. Composting will slow during winter weather, but it will restart again in spring after the pile is turned. Finished compost looks like black dirt and is no longer identifiable as the original materials. Use it as a top dressing or mulch in landscape beds. 4 to 6 inches of compost can be tilled into soil when beginning new landscape areas. A 50% mixture of compost and soil works well in landscape containers. For more information on composting, check out Garden Compost, publication number 810, on the UNL Publications website, www.ianrpubs.unl.edu, or visit your local extension office for more information.